Hey, church, Wednesday Worship and Connect. So this week, I decided to download an app to help me sing better because there's literally an app for everything. And somehow I'm a better singer in my head when we're all together, and I realized that this week. So I live in a townhouse, and I figured I should at least sing well for my neighbors. So hopefully, for their sake, I've gotten a little bit better. So I'm not sure how you feel singing at home. Maybe it's awkward. Maybe you feel encouraged. Maybe you feel like you also need to go and download a singing app. but uh, but as we come together to sing and to center around who God is, feel the freedom to listen, sing, or just hum if that's less awkward. Let's prepare our hearts right now to be with God and to be together with one another. So just take a deep breath as we get started. This is meant to be a time where we come together as family, just to pause, to be together, and just to collectively cling to the one unchanging anchor in the storms of life. And that is our hope in our God and our King, Jesus. So even when it's awkward, would you join in singing together with our family?
Hey church, good evening. It's Neil and Olivia and Emily from our home to yours. It's lovely to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to do some worship with you tonight. We're looking forward to it. We're going to start with This Is Amazing Grace.
Christy here. When Brad asked me to share a devotional for this week for the Worship and Connect, I started, I guess, overthinking it, and I know he's been staying in the book of John for his devotion, so I thought for some reason that meant that I should, and I just couldn't come up with anything. And so, novel idea, I thought, well, maybe I should pray about it and see what God wants me to share. And so as I had been praying the last few days about it, and last week a little bit, the verse and the phrase from the verse that kept coming to mind over and over and over was just the phrase, fix our eyes on Jesus. And it comes from Hebrews chapter 12, verses 2 and 3, that says, let us fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Consider him who endured such opposition from sinful men, so that you will not grow weary and lose heart. And just that the phrase, fix our eyes on Jesus, has been coming over and over and over. And I've been losing sleep over it, trying to think, well, what does that mean? Like, now of all times, we're in such a weird place right now. We're almost a month into social distancing and self-isolating in our homes. We haven't been able to go to church. We're cut off from our communities. All of these things are so different than any other time. We're record unemployment and uncertainty. People are afraid for their loved ones. I know some of you guys have family members in care homes that you're worried about that you can't visit. There's so much going on right now. And it's one of those things, I think, that's really easy to say, fix our eyes on Jesus. And we all know, and we all think, yeah, that's easy. We get that, you know. But practically, it's a lot harder for me to do than I would care to admit. As I was processing through this, I was reminded of a story that happened a few years ago. The last 6 or 7 years, I think, in the summertime, John and I have taken our kids to Green Bay family camp in the summer, and it's awesome there. We love it. It's a highlight, basically, of their entire lives each year. And when we're driving to Green Bay, it's really easy to be like, oh, we're so excited. What are you going to do first? Oh, I'm going to jump in the lake. I'm going to go kayaking. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. It's really easy to talk about all the things that we're excited about. And I started noticing a couple of years in a row, as we were leaving Green Bay to head back home, the kids and I would want to talk about what was your favorite part of the week? What did you love? What are you going to miss? And so we would be talking about these things, and it seemed like no sooner would we hit the highway than John would start talking about home. And he'll be like, okay, what are you looking forward to about home? What are you going to do first when you get home? These kinds of things. And at first I was a little bit annoyed, and I was thinking, it's, you know, he doesn't like coming on vacation with us. He just can hardly wait to get home. And so after a couple of years of noticing this pattern, and he's consistently asking us, like, as soon as we leave camp, starts talking about home again. And so I asked him about it one year. And so he sort of explained about how he wanted us to be able to look forward, to be excited to be home. And so he was asking us about it on purpose so that we would start thinking about home, so that we would be excited when we got there. And so through this story, I guess, I started to really understand that this is what it means when the Bible is talking about fixing our eyes on Jesus. It's like how when we're leaving Green Bay and we're talking about all of the things that we loved and all of the things that we want to do again and we're going to miss, we can get stuck there, and then we're not excited about being home. But if we turn our thoughts towards being home, it's so much easier to appreciate what we have when we get there. And so as I was processing this week and this all of this self-isolation craziness that's going on, I think there's so many things that people are feeling and working through, and it's so easy for us to develop tunnel vision and just see whatever is right in front of us. we get stuck in these loops of thinking. And like for me, I'm a stress cleaner. So if my mind is going, if you come into my house and I'm like frantically cleaning something, back away slowly. It sometimes means our house is really clean, but it usually means that my mind is in a loop, and I'm ranting at somebody, or I'm worrying about something, and the physical manifestation of what's happening in my brain is that I stress clean. Somebody in your head, and you're imagining, oh, they're going to say this, and then I'm going to say this, and we get stuck in our brain. And I think now more than ever before, because we're so isolated and we're so cut off from our communities and our support system. They know Jesus, they're his friends, they've seen the miracles, they know exactly what he can do, who he is, and yet they see the storm and they feel afraid. And I think that sometimes we're like that, where we know who Jesus is. We just finished celebrating Easter, where we're focused on exactly who he is and what he did and the price that he paid so we can have this incredible relationship with God. And we know these things in our mind, we know them in our heart, and yet practically it's so easy to get that tunnel vision and just see the storm and feel afraid. And so how then do we flip the switch and turn our eyes and fix our thoughts on Jesus in the middle of all of that? In Philippians, it talks about, in chapter 4, it talks about whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Romans chapter 8 talks about the mind controlled by the Spirit is life and peace. How many of us need life and peace in our mind right now? I know I do. And so for me, some of the things practically that work really well are I'll write down verses from my Bible. I used to write them on sticky notes and pepper them all over my house, inside my cupboards, on my bathroom mirror, beside my computer, wherever it is that I'm going to be in the day. I used to just write down Bible verses on sticky notes and put them there. Lately, I've been writing them in a journal, thinking about them in my mind a little bit more. I have teenagers. So I don't know why I said that. That's not really relevant. However, when you're in isolation with teenagers, we need a lot of help. So maybe that's why I brought it up. In any case, just to conclude, I really just wanted to take this opportunity to encourage us that when you feel like your mind is spinning, you're stuck worrying, you're stress cleaning, you're frustrated or angry or whatever it is, you're feeling overwhelmed by all of the feelings, it's fine to feel the feelings, but we also have a choice in what we do with that. We can stay there, we can focus on the circumstance that we find ourselves in, or we can remember who our God is and how much bigger he is than those circumstances. And we can choose to fix our eyes on Jesus. We can choose what kind of thoughts we're going to put in our mind. And sometimes that means we have to do something to stop the racing thoughts first so that we can recenter them. Sometimes that means that we have to take a time out and just get into the Word of God, take a few minutes just to read and recenter ourselves. Sometimes it means cranking worship music, having a dance party, getting a really hard workout in, whatever it looks like for you to just flip that switch and stop those racing thoughts. I think that gives us such a better opportunity to fix our eyes on Jesus. And one of the songs that I have had playing in my mind on repeat is, it's an old hymn, I can't even come up with the name of it, but the line from the hymn, "On Christ the solid rock I stand, all other ground is sinking sand." And I just love that in a time where everybody is overwhelmed with uncertainty. We have the most certain thing that is available to us, that Jesus never changes. He is the same yesterday, he's the same today, he's the same forever, tomorrow. No matter what the circumstances, no matter what the world looks like, no matter how we're feeling, what our thoughts are doing, he is the same. And if we can somehow remember that in the middle of our weeks when we're feeling isolated and lonely and overwhelmed with trying to get 4 kids to do online school or, whatever it is for you, when we can find a way to flip that switch and turn our focus back to Jesus, I feel like for me, I'm in just such a better, healthier place. So that's all I've got. I know it's not rocket science. I know that Brad even talked about it on Sunday. He talked about how Jesus is the anchor. But I think that there's a reason the simple things are what keep coming back, you know. There's a reason that we keep spending all this time reading in the Gospels and studying the life of Jesus. And I think it's because it all comes down to Jesus. And that's what makes the difference for us now and always in our lives. So I guess that's all I've got for you guys. Thanks.
So thanks so much for joining us this week, guys. That was awesome. As always, you can reach out to office@MackenzieTownChurch.com if you have any prayer requests. Hope you guys have an awesome week. Bye. Cheers.